Hey, y'all. Thanks for vibing with
See, and
Chichi, where we talk about all the hot topics. What's your vibe, girl? What's up? How you doing?
doing good today. I'm just sipping on water. I've been taking it easy, just work, relax,
hmm
tidy up, the normal. What you been up to? How's your day going?
Yeah, day's been kind of chill, really relaxed. I'm wrapping up in school, so we're relaxing. We're just studying a little bit here and there. But yeah, no complaints.
How's the workout going?
Oh yes, thanks for asking. Oh my gosh, workout has been really good. So I started in sense. So for the longest, I was just doing treadmills and kind of with the incline and stuff like that. I have like workout friends, so we've been keeping each other accountable with that. So it's been really fun actually. So the in the beginning when I talked to you guys, it was getting a habit of working out. Now the habit is there. I'm literally rushing to the gym. It's like therapeutic thing for me. I love it, love it, love it. So I'll do like 3, 4 miles and things like that. So I've been feeling really good. I actually got some feedback yesterday that I'm actually losing weight. I think Vibe
Good.
Squad, y'all let me know. If it
Yeah.
looks like I'm losing weight somewhere in the face. But now I just started Insanity because I
Okay.
wanted to try to really just maximize my time. If I'm going to the gym, I want to make sure that I'm doing something that's really going to burn that calorie.
Right.
But I'm still working on the eating habits. So, and after I work out, I may eat like a candy here, a little candy there, and then maybe a little sip of a soda. But that stuff adds up. So it's kind of like, ugh,
Yes.
you're right. So I'm still working on
Talk
that.
about that. Maybe that could be one of our topics about how to balance, your weight journey, your health journey, fitness journey, whatever it may be. How do you incorporate different eating styles and stuff like that? Intermittent fasting, whatever works. So
Yes.
yeah, we can lean into that. That might be good to talk about on our show as well.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Topics. What you
All
got
right.
in mind for today?
Well, I'm a mother, so I've been talking to lots of different mothers lately. My daughter just had a birthday, so I've had a lot of chitter chatter with different moms. So what I'm noticing is, once upon a time, there was a thing of, watching out for bullies and kid bullies and things like that. But it's looking like a general theme that there's some teacher bullies out there.
Oh no.
So I want to bring it out to the Vibe Squad. Have y'all been in a situation where you feel like your child is being bullied, by the teacher, being mishandled by, the school system themselves? Like, have you heard of anything like that? Or what is your thought if you had a baby and, you know, they just kept expressing that my teachers meet like not like way above me and just like screaming at me for no reason. I don't understand why she's saying these things, and just they're kind of like built anxiety when it comes to school. Like, how would you handle that?
Yeah, I think it gets actually really deep because we know that the school systems, especially for Black and Brown children, can be experienced in a different way.
Hmm.
And I do believe there are systematic things that take place within these school systems that kind of mimic our real society as far as how they structure the school systems, how they monitor certain students and pick on certain students and pinpoint them.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, it's so important that when you have children, you have to make sure you have that rapport where they can talk to you and be honest and open about what's really going on and what's transpiring. If they can't come to you and feel comfortable and then they're experiencing this at school, who knows what's going to happen behind closed doors? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have any children personally, but I've heard stories from men as well as women, but mostly men, of the experiences they've had in these school systems being bullied by other students, teachers turning a blind eye, them not feeling comfortable enough to talk to their parents. So they essentially suffer in silence for years.
Yeah.
And then they act out certain behaviors, and you're trying to figure out, like, why are they acting like this in society? Because they were bullied and, manipulated, coerced, all types of stuff taking place, sexually molested. There's so many things that transpire behind closed doors because people don't feel comfortable enough. Kids don't feel comfortable enough coming out to the guardians that's supposed to be looking out for them. And
Right.
that's teachers and parents at home. But from a mother standpoint, having children, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, so it's a real thing. It's unfortunate, and like you said, there is a thing with brown children, African American children, and how they may be treated in school. Because I never knew that was a thing, but I think it is, and I have observed it,
Mm,
and it's a very uncomfortable situation.
yeah.
But thank God, like, my children and, different parents I've spoke to and, their interaction with their children, they've been open enough to kind of express their emotions. The children express their emotions on how they feel and things like that. So they're able to correct it. So, and some of the parents that I did speak to, we're in this awkward situation where, do we email them? Is it just the teacher is strict? We don't want to, like, okay, strict is okay. We're trying to balance, like, what is normal? Is it strict versus bully? Is it strict versus picking on? So it's something. It's a challenge for us parents because we don't want to always be crying to the teacher about different things, but also there's certain things that's just, unacceptable.
I definitely believe being a hands-on parent is the way to go. And what I mean by hands-on is being more involved than less involved with your child's interactions at school with their teachers. That means being familiar, like letting the teacher know that you are well aware, very active, because a lot of times they feel like, well, the parent don't care, so we're going to do whatever we want to this child because it's not going to get back to the parent. The parent's already doing whatever
That's
or
correct.
not, giving the child that attention. So what's going to be the difference? So I
That's,
think when you send those emails, hey, I just wanted to check in, this really may not have sound right from what I've heard, not trying to go overboard, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being protective of your child. Again, I get like finding that balance of being open protective and setting your child up to be independent later on down the road. But at the
mhm,
same time, when it's another adult involved and it's not just another student or something like that, that's when, as a guardian, as that caretaker, I feel like it is your place to kind of speak up on
mhm.
those issues whenever something just seems out of place.
Right. I agree. I agree because also I've noticed that teachers will omit some information. So they're
Mhm.
quick to tell you how, this child acted, but they're not quick to tell you what caused it. What did you do? Whatever. So I've noticed that in certain situations where I would sit and I would listen to all the, things that's going on, but I would hear that y'all admitted some things here. So and I agree. I guess the key here is, parents always keeping that open communication with your child. Let them know
Mhm.
that you care. Still discipline them. They do something out of, out of line. Still discipline them, but always make sure you keep them feeling comfortable expressing their feelings to you and things
Exactly.
like that. I think that will go a long way because there's some things, happening in the world, in school, and without open communication, you're not going to be able to figure it out and resolve it. So I
Yeah,
definitely feel like that's important.
definitely. I mean, open communication and making it a safe place for your child because you don't want it to be at a point where it's like the teacher's word versus your child's word. You want to have that relationship where you trust your child and what they're going to tell you because they fear you, they know that you're looking out for them, all of that. It has to be that relationship, that rapport that you built. So I think the relationship with your child is really going to help you navigate with adults that are interacting with your child as well because you know your kid. They don't know your child like you know your child.
Right.
So again, if something doesn't sound right, I feel like as a parent, you're gonna have intuition. You should hopefully have the intuition to know like, something seems to be missing. But I do agree, open communication is the way to go on both ends.
So then, okay, back in our days, public school was fine and everything, but I've heard so many different teachings or trainings that are going on in public school. I don't know if you've heard, like nowadays, it's, and it's free world, everybody, but nowadays I think they teach that it's okay for, lady to be with lady and men to be with lady. I think I've heard parents say it's okay for that. Have you heard that before? Like, talk to other parents that they teach these things. I know that it's a new generation and everybody's free to do whatever they want to do, but I feel like nowadays isn't a teaching at school. I guess one of their ancillary classes. How do you feel about that? Knowing that possibly your child can be you know,
Yeah,
learning.
I have thought about this. And, in this day and age, I think people feel like it's more appropriate to really just be open about whatever lifestyle.
Okay.
And there is not as much, I guess, shame around those things like it
Mhm.
used to be.
Right.
Back when we were younger, it used to be all these like stigmas.
That's right.
So we kind of have like a blend of both sides of seeing like openly acceptable to before where it was very much like prim and proper behavior that took
Mhm.
place. Like you had to represent a certain look on the outside, but whatever you were doing behind closed doors, that was kind of like your business. Nobody knew about it.
Mhm.
So, from my understanding, these school systems are now introducing kind of like when we went through like our puberty classes and things like that, we were
Yeah.
learning about,
Right.
yeah. So now I guess the instruction is more so like, oh, maybe you were born this way, or, this is normal to have these types of parent households, and for me, thinking about wanting to have children in this world and bringing them up, I personally wouldn't want my children in an open setting to be taught a certain way without me first teaching them. So personally, I
Mhm.
would want to do some type of homeschool until they're like 5 or 6 and they
Okay.
can really comprehend certain things and have a foundation that's already established before they go hear all this hodgepodge of
Mhm.
everything is cool and fine and dandy,
Mhm.
without really understanding like who they are. I want them to be able to grasp like, okay, what is the teaching that I want to instill in my children before the world goes and instills stuff into my children?
I see. And that's a very good point because school system is really pretty much how they learn a lot of the things. It's pretty much like mainly the school system and just a little, maybe 40 or 30% of the home training. So I like how you're saying 5 to 6 years you will train your children, homeschool them before you send them out to the world. So is that why you were saying that you prefer to be a housewife at least for 5 years and they
Mhm.
get back into it? Okay.
Right, exactly. Because I do want to be hands on. Again, this people outside are going to form their opinions. They're going to whatever be liberated on all these different things. But for me, I think how I raise my children in my household with my husband, Lord willing, everything works out. This is all idealistic. But
Mm-hmm.
say I'm just the maybe my husband or whatever is working a lot and I'm the one teaching my children certain values or instilling things in them. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that they're able to discern when they get out there, like, I mean, okay, I get people do this, but that's not something that I necessarily have to participate in. I want them to have hopefully a level of understanding and discernment to
Right.
their own ability at that a young age, but you can only control so much. It's always that unknown factor that you have to
That's
take
right.
into account. So,
That is true. That is true. I'm with you on everything you said, but I do, and I agree. I want to do train my children where they're free to do what they need to do. Definitely education first. Get your grades because that's how I was trained. Get your grades, get your A's and B's, mainly A's, and you can still have fun, whatever. But my parents did train me in a way that, like you said, when I'm out there in the world and I'm seeing all these different things, I'm able to discern what is right and what is wrong because there are things that are out there that that are negative. It's bad.
yeah.
But go ahead.
Girl, yeah, because I was thinking like this brought me to another topic, even
Go
though
ahead.
these weren't the topics we were initially going to
Bring
discuss, but
it.
it's still in that same genre,
Yeah.
with our school systems. Have you heard that like the school systems are broken and,
Mm,
they're not meeting the needs of this generation because that schedule, the structure of how they are teaching children in schools, in public schools specifically, is really not conducive or informative to how the real world is. So
mm,
how do you feel about outdated teaching and what are some ways I think we can go about it? Because I know you talked about having other mom friends and everything, which to me is a tribe. Y'all are coming together talking about your children's education. But if there's things that are outdated, maybe it's the reading material, maybe it's the what they're studying history, because a lot of times I'm hearing they're trying to take out slavery in American history. So,
interesting.
like, how do you feel about knowing that your children are going to be taught certain things that may be very limited?
Um, I would definitely want my children to get the most up to date teaching. Um, right now my children are really small, so they're just doing the basics right now, like the math and the ABCs and things like that. So I haven't got really deep into the curriculum to see, okay, like this is outdated. Like you need to talk about the new president and things that happened more recently and things like that. So I don't have any hardcore evidence as of now, but yes, I would want my children to get the most updated information. I want them to know about slavery. I want them to know about civil rights. I want them to know about the history, but also we had some, evolution has happened since COVID and things like that. So I want them to also understand that as well. And I hope that the system or whoever develops the educational system are implementing new books so that it has those new things that we have went through in the most current age. So definitely, and but I do see, like, even I don't know if this is normal, but my daughter's in third grade and they're typing and things like that. They're typing early, so I'm not sure. I don't remember when we started typing, but I don't know if it's third.
Elementary. I
Is
remember it was
elementary?
elementary.
Okay.
I don't know if it was third, fourth, or fifth, but I do remember learning how to like type without looking or whatever on the
Yeah,
keyboard in elementary.
right. So
So, do you think, with extracurriculums, and then we can switch the subject
yeah,
because
go ahead, keep
we can
going.
carry on, but with extracurricular activities, do you remember back in elementary when they had like recess, PE, music class?
Yeah.
What other things do you feel like they should have for quote unquote extracurricular? Because I do think those are important, like art, but I also feel like they should have some type of mental health wellness or mindful classes, mindfulness classes. Or is that too progressive?
Yeah, when you said mental health and all that stuff, I want to ask you, what grade did you think that would start?
Yeah, I'm talking about early, like elementary kids, exposing them to like being mindful or meditation or maybe breathing exercises.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that at all, actually. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything negative that can do. Um, so yeah, that'd be an extra plus. And in terms of other ancillary classes, well, I mean, I know the new school that we're thinking about going to, I think they have something called Lego Club, which is
Mhm.
different. It helps them use their mental capacity in a creative sense. So I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty cool. They have another different clubs that helps them build different robots and things like that. That's like an extra curriculum activity they can do, which kind of gives them to the engineering mindset and building and exploring that mind as well. So I'm really excited about this new school because they have different extracurricular activities that are more creative.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're a little bit more, up to date because
Yeah.
the school I'm at now is literally like old, strict old school, is private and things like that. So they're really to the old tradition. So I'm interested in seeing what are other schools doing. So maybe I'll have more feedback on that a little bit later when next year
Yeah.
comes
When
and
they enroll next year, I
when
would
when
love
it
to
start
see
in August. Yeah, and
what the
see.
differences are, your experience from being in a private school or a Montessori or whatever versus
Right,
public school setting.
right.
'Cause I do believe, like, a lot of times the school districts feel like, okay, we're going to give the basic fundamentals, but anything extra, is on outside resources, whether it be different clubs that your child is joining. A lot of times the district, I don't know if they take on the responsibility of being expansive in opportunities, but hearing that there's like a Lego class and, other things in a public setting, I think that's really important because,
That's really
kids
important.
learn differently. Kids learn differently. They're a
Right,
different society at this point. So,
right. So that's good news. But yeah,
girl, well, progressing on because I know our topics are kind of like, jumping. Do you want to go ahead and go with the next one? Because the one I'm thinking of for our topic kind of goes with this, but
go ahead, jump on it.
okay. Okay, okay, I'm gonna jump on it.
Mhm.
So the next topic I wanted to bring up is maturity.
Okay.
you know, what does that really look like? We're talking about previously school age kids and everything, but being you as a mother going through different programs, schooling, and things like that, you've matured from previous high school,
Yeah.
college to now this adult woman.
Okay.
So, what are some signs or some things that you notice that indicate maturation or maturity has taken place,
Okay.
essentially?
Yeah. How do you know you matured, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I can say that Whitney 10 years ago, maybe 15, 13 years ago versus Whitney now. Whitney now is not going to react to a lot of things.
Mm,
We're not turning up no more.
mm,
You're gonna have to do something that hits my home for me to really turn up on you, because I have so much to lose. So Whitney won't be turning up like that. Now that's maturity because Whitney 13 years ago, I'll turn up. I'll turn up if you talk to my friend wrong. Like we're turning up. Like I have nothing to lose. I mean, what's there? Whatever. But Whitney matured is going to think about the holistic picture. We're going to think about you turn up, you beat some tails, and then what? What does that do? You see, even that, even what I just said right now is a maturity. Because I could
mm,
have said beats up, you know what I'm saying? But I said tails because I'm in a whole different mindset. Like, it's gonna take me a lot to get me out of that professionalism or that maturity. It's going to take a whole lot because my threshold's a little bit higher because I'm looking at 360. Like, how would this affect my husband? Do I represent my husband if I do this? Do I represent my children? I'm a mother, a daughter, like I'm all these different things. So my action really matters. So that's when I know, like, yeah, you matured because you're just not popping off or doing crazy stuff without thinking twice.
wow.
So I think that's more maturity, and then just how you behave in different situations, how people behave in different situations. Like, I mean, like, how do you know a guy's mature? Like, if you're able to have a grown conversation without like feeling all goofy, or I mean, let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. Like, if it's something, let's talk about sex toys. If the man start getting ooly, 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 you're not mature. Get out my face. Let's talk about it. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So something like that. Like, when you get serious, is the other person able to talk, like, be serious as well?
Mm.
So that kind of gauges the maturity. What's your
That's
opinion?
real. I'm just soaking it all in because you were touching on so many different points. And I
Okay.
do agree, it's like when you move into a different phase of your life where you're not just responsible for being a child and a student, now
Hmm.
you have other people really needing you, relying on you for your guidance
That's
and
right.
looking up to you to see how you're going to respond to things. Yeah, you're going to mature because you're like, this other response that I was reacting to or showing up as is not going to look right, is not going to be right. I'm not going to get what I need. I'm not going to be as um respected when I respond these ways. And I mean, granted, respected is a loose word or whatever.
Right.
People can debate that. But I do agree, like, I feel you've matured, especially when other people that know you so well can be like, oh, wow, you respond differently now. Like, you are not, I could tell you've matured because you're not charging me up or hanging up the phone or,
Hmm.
you know, um, shutting off, turning, just completely shutting down, not able to communicate,
That's
you know,
right.
running away from problems, lying. Because I
Hmm.
feel like to me, that's kind of immature behavior. As adults, as grown people that are accountable for their responsibilities and independent, you don't really need to be ashamed of why you made a certain decision. And if
Hmm.
you are ashamed of that decision, then you need to be accountable and say, hey, I probably should have handled this way. And moving forward, I've learned. I feel like really acknowledging and viewing yourself from introspective perspective, like really knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it, to me is
Hmm.
maturity. Now,
Right.
when it comes to like men or women, like I feel men, it's hard to say because like a lot of times they want to claim to be like, oh, I'm a man and I did this because I wanted to, but at the same time you're being secretive, not disclosing things that you should be disclosing and trying not to get caught. To me, I feel like that's child behavior. Like if
Yeah.
you want to do what you're doing, just be like,
So
hey, this is where I'm at, or you know what I'm saying, like, why are you shucking and jiving and
that's
lying
true.
and
That's true.
in all these corners?
Right. You think
And
I'm gonna spank you or something? Like, you gonna put you on punishment? Like, bro, act grown.
Exactly. Like if
Okay,
you don't want to do it, just be like, man, I didn't show up because I didn't want to. Like
put some hair on your chest. Like, what's
exactly.
up?
So I think that goes for both people because women and men. But since we just brought up
True.
the guy standpoint, I was like, I guess from a mature standpoint, that's
That
how
makes
I
a
would
lot
look
of
at it.
sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why you lying? I ain't your mama. Like, I mean, why you lie to your mama too? But
The
yes, that's,
question, like even if they're not lying, they're like deflecting. They don't want to answer a question straight up. Like, why can't you answer the question? Is this too
that's true.
hard?
Is
Like,
this too?
or just be able to say like, hey, this is something I need to think about, or I don't want to respond in a certain way. Just communicate that. Now,
That's right.
granted, some people have to think through their response before they respond. Some people are like quick, just response for the first thing on their head. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong or anything, but at least be able to like acknowledge, okay, so they're asking me a direct question. It may be a harder or challenging thing for me to respond to, but
Hmm.
I'm still able to respond because I know where I stand.
Right.
I'm not afraid to share it.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Just, knowing who you are and being comfortable with your skin
Mhm.
and being able to communicate it like a grown man or woman.
Period. So, Vibe Squad, let us know what you think about maturing. What does that
Yeah.
look like to you? Have you seen any phases of your life compared to where you've been to where you're at now, like where you have matured? And then we want to talk about the school system too. We want to talk about how education has changed. Is it changing for the better? What are some ways we can maybe collaborate and contribute to what our children are being exposed to? So,
Right. Yeah, and one last thing on that thing. Would you date somebody who's a gamer? Is that maturity to you?
we're going to throw
They
that in there.
they play games all day long.
All day long.
After work, they play they gamer, they on that, I don't know, 2K, whatever.
What I've heard
That's
is
her?
gaming keeps
Okay.
people out of trouble.
Okay.
Gaming keeps men out of trouble. So when I say out of trouble, I mean, they're at home playing the game. So
Okay.
they're not out spending money on things they shouldn't be spending money on
Okay.
or putting themselves at risk because they're doing whatever. Not saying that every time a man goes outside the house, they're doing things that are
Of
irresponsible.
course. Mm,
But I mean, if they're a gamer, then they're at home and they're playing the game. Me
okay.
personally, I feel like moderations is key.
Okay, moderations.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you can play the game. I'm not gonna be like, no, I won't date any gamers. But if it's
Yeah.
like four,
Except
5, 6, if it's more than 4 hours straight,
you gotta well, I'm like, oh yeah.
hour and a half, okay, have fun. Two
Right.
hours maybe, but
3
after that,
hours, need some food. Like, what's up?
yeah, what else are
You
we
going to eat
doing?
dinner? Uh,
But what do
girl.
you feel about a gamer? Like, is that something attractive or is that something where it's like, no?
I've never been in that situation. I mean, like my husband plays games sometimes, I guess, like whatever. But no, no gamers. I don't know. Like you can't just be playing on the Xbox all day too. You just can't be being up playing boxing and shooting people on the. You just can't be doing that all day.
Grand Theft Auto and Call of
Crossbow,
Duty and
killing
Black
cars
Hawk
and shit.
Down.
We ain't doing that. Pokemon, we're not. Mario, now Mario, I mess with the Mario.
Yeah, see,
I mess with
you're
that Mario.
biased.
We can do that. Yeah, we can do that all day long. Wrestling, I mess with that. I mess
Mortal
with it.
Kombat.
I mess with it. I bought it for my son. I mess with it. But it's moderations and limited selection. Like
Right.
let's negotiate this. But
It's just like TV. Like if you're binging anything, it's like
mhm,
slow down, hold your horses. Like what are some other options?
right,
But I'm not gonna knock somebody if that's their way of being relaxed and their leisure.
right.
It
It's
is
true.
moderation. So
Self-care, self-care.
yeah, it could be their mental health release.
Right. True. But we talked about a lot today. We're going to leave y'all on a cliffhanger. We're going to talk about it next time. So, Vibe Squad, just let us know, what is your thoughts on a lady proposing to a man? Is that okay? A lot of people doing it nowadays. So, what would you do? Would you propose to your man or no? Let us know. Let's get these polls, rolling, and we're gonna see what the Bob Squad is saying. We're gonna release it next episode. Will you propose to a man, a lady? Is it okay for a lady to propose to a man? Yes or no? Simple. Just put a yes or no in the comments real quick. Let's get this poll and we're going to release the results next time.
Yes, and we should follow up. As a man, would you accept the proposal?
That one.
More to come.
More to come. Well, thank you guys for vibing with. See you